Good afternoon. Alright, today we are going to be reacting to Kira's video, The Curious Case of Stephen's Hidden House. Ooh. Oh. Leave a like and we're going to get into this right now. I wonder, I haven't watched this. This is my first time reaction, so everything in all my videos is like, unless I say otherwise, is my first time reacting to it. There is no script. There is nothing. Just my solid reaction. Let's get it started.
Okay, what up, friendos? Welcome back again, I guess, because this is a re-upload of a video that was just live. Got the video privacy claimed for cyberbullying and harassment. So there are going to be sections of this video that are edited a little bit weirdly, just so I can get the whole video back up. And I've had to strip a bunch of info from one of the documents. But, you know, enjoy, I guess. This is a very weird scenario. It's almost like mentioning certain people that are involved in this is like talking about fucking Voldemort, but you know, he who must not be named. Enjoy the video, I guess. Okay, what up, friendos? Welcome back. This video is going to be a little bit different because we're going to be looking at disproving things today instead of proving things, right? Because there's been a ton of misinformation posted about the Ashes thing, and it's understandable why. Everyone's a detective at the moment. Everyone's looking for the smoking gun. You know, was it done in the library with a chandelier or whatever, a fucking candlestick? What we
If anyone doesn't know, Steven was one of the board people on the board. I believe he was like the one that started with his husband, the Ashes of Creation. But obviously they had to get investors, I guess. So they got investors, so the board started, and then the board kind of took over.
we've come to here is that there's a bunch of prevailing
Speculation.
public narratives that I can just show you are untrue. I can spend 10 minutes and I can show you that they're untrue. So that's what I'm going to do. But first, I thought for a good old palate cleanser, let's laugh at mainstream game journalism because it's absolutely fucking terrible. It's always been terrible.
Mainstream, the mainstream game journalism, game journalists now, honestly, they suck ass. They used to be good. They used to speak for the player, but man, they've turned and oh my god, IGN is probably one of the worst. I'm like, I think I want to say it was IGN that had one of their journalists said one of the game wasn't diverse enough, and I think it's like a game from overseas. I can't remember if it's Chinese or Japanese, but I'm pretty sure it's Chinese. And I don't think it was Black Myth Wukong. I think it was I don't remember the name of it. It was real popular Chinese game, AAA quality, and it was not diverse enough or something like that. And I'm like, what? Diversity should not be a box you have to check for a review. If you're looking for diversity, you're in the fucking wrong industry. You're here to rate games on the gameplay and the quality of the game. You're not here to rate the fucking diversity. That shit gets annoying when you see people journalists try to say, oh, it's not diverse enough, or it's oh, it appeals to the male gaze. Fuck off. You're here to review the game, not the character models that don't appeal to you. I want to know, is the game fun? Is it fun? Is it balanced? If you tell me, oh, the character's too sexy, I'm like, well, then that's just another reason to purchase it.
Terrible. Maybe you could argue in the 90s, in the early 2000s, it wasn't this bad. But right now we are at sort of fever pitch of utter fucking dog shit, right? And I am, of course, referring to this IGN article, which is written by somebody who apparently has 15 years of experience working with some of the biggest gaming
15 years doesn't mean jack fucking squat.
Sites and publications. I'm so sorry. What a damning indictment. But obviously IGN and most big publications, how they'll work is somebody writes the story and then there's an editor who basically acts as the arbiter for what goes live to try and not only make the publication look good, make sure the standard is there, but also make sure that there's nothing that could get them legally in trouble or whatever else. So this has been seen by 2 people at a minimum, and then gone to the public, and it's one of the worst fucking articles on anything I've ever seen. They've done no level of journalism. They've spoken to nobody as far as I'm aware. They've just basically repeated what was already publicly available and done so incorrectly, which is almost as if they've spent no time on it whatsoever.
That is now an IGN standard. To be wrong and only virtue signal what's politically correct now. I used to respect IGN when I was younger. I'm like, oh, like they're a good company, like good YouTube channel to go to and watch and see the reviews, like what games are good and all that. And now I'm like, I don't trust them worth a shit. They give like what's that one game? Dragon Age Inquisition. Didn't they like give it like a 9 out of 10? But that game was like complete and utter dog shit. And then they gave Baldur's Gate like what was it? A 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10? I'm like, you rated Dragon Age Inquisition higher than Baldur's Gate. I played Baldur's Gate. I loved it at the same time that I hated it because it was so difficult. But I would still give that game like a 9 out of 10 because it was very unique. The gameplay was very unique. Like the things you could get away with and do was very funny. But Dragon Age, oh god, fucking Tosh, man, fuck that bitch. The fucking talk was so cringy and annoying.
And this would probably have been better had it been written by a chat GPT, which
right.
obviously is funny because the thing that they're quoting was basically written by a chat GPT of somebody who was LARPing. You'll have seen this do the rounds. It was initially linked to me and I was like, please guys, stop linking this shit. Stop wasting my time tagging me in this. Spend 5 seconds thinking about why a random old lady that just put money into the company, doesn't own the company in any way, isn't on the board, would be posting on a member level Discord account the intricate details of the future.
Look at that name, Karen L. Karen. You got Karen in your name. I don't fucking trust it.
Through this company, why would this be happening? Just think about it for 2 seconds and it immediately falls apart. But obviously IGN didn't spend 2 seconds thinking about it, and they didn't spend 5 seconds fact checking.
It's IGN, man.
Because they posted and they said, quote, at this time, because her account isn't tagged in as an official member, it's impossible to determine who she is or if she's involved in the game development at all. Now, I'll tell you, we obviously have different definitions of what words mean, because it's not only not impossible, but it's actually very easy to determine who this is and if they're involved. And what you do is you click the profile, and then when you see that they've got like XX, No Scope, Sniper, Legolas, XX as one of their social media linked accounts, probably not old lady MLM Karen, is it? Right? Yeah. And then if you want to spend, that extra level of journalism, get that extra bit.
IGN has gotten so lazy. I think it's like IGN, they had to cut back on their staff too because they started losing so much money because they were virtue signaling so much that people stopped coming to them for like news and all that shit. And they actually like lost a bunch of money. Or was that like the other company? What was it, like Blocks Radar or something like that? I'm pretty sure it was IGN though. They had like cut back on their staff. I'm like, I feel bad like that they had to cut back on any like company has to cut back on their staff because of loss of profits. But if you're not pushing what people want, you're like say you ain't giving people what they want, and then telling them to shut up and eat it anyway. Why would I come back? Yeah, I don't know if I made a very good analogy there. Say, I want an FPS. Here's a better analogy. I think. Say I want an FPS shooter, and you push out a game like Animal Crossing, and you say that's just as good as an FPS shooter, and you say that you'll consume it and you'll be happy. Well, that's not what I want, so I won't consume it, and I won't be happy. Now I'm very bad at analogies. Fuck this. We're gonna resume. I'm not very good at analogies. What I'm just trying to say is they're pushing shit that people, they're pushing out shit people don't want, and they're not listening to the people that are like pointing out facts and all that. They're just trying to push an agenda what they think will be the future, but really will not be, unless these people are successful at brainwashing the young.
Bit of fucking fact checking in there. You could click the bar at the top right of the screen
Like a
on
kitty.
Discord, do from user search, put Karen in, click her name, and then it'll show you months of messages under a different username. Crazy. I know you could have spent 10 seconds and not had this boo-boo, not had this big error. But you know, it's only one
So
massive
stupid.
flaw in an otherwise completely devoid of merit article, right? But coincidentally enough, a different wellness company called 310 Nutrition and run by a man called Tim Sharif, actually Stephen's brother, by the way, who has just dropped a load of Ashes Creation merch onto Amazon. Make of that what you will. And then obviously they say, I have a feeling that February
Ashes
13th
merch.
live stream is going to be very well attended indeed. It won't, because there's nobody at the company. I don't even think they can access the social media accounts. This is about to be 2+ years of a legal battle. They're going to go live on a social media account as
This is gonna be a fucking messy legal battle, and it's gonna suck because I don't know who's gonna really come out on top. Because even if they're ordered to pay money, who's gonna pay it? If they got no money, they can't pay it. If they have money, they can pay it. But if they got no money, they won't. They can't pay it, and they'll probably file for bankruptcy.
board members, 0 employees, by the way, as board members who don't understand the games industry. People don't even think that they exist. And they're going to come on and be like, oh, yeah, guys, here's our intricate details for the future. Meanwhile, there's about to be a massive legal battle from the workers, from presumably one side of the board, the other side of the board. If you think that's going to happen, I don't know what to tell you, really. But now, obviously, the public narrative here, and I'm going to try to say this as nicely as possible. I'm probably going to fail. I'm going to try and not get too, sour about this. But a few days ago, I made a video, and in that video, I said at the end, it's really fun for everyone to speculate. It's really fun for everyone to get involved. It is like a community fucking Easter egg hunt, right? Everyone's a detective right now. Everyone's getting involved. What isn't fun? It's fun to ask questions and say, oh, I found this. What could this mean? What isn't fun is when people start using the things that they've found or that they think they've found that they don't understand in order to work backwards from a conclusion and say, this thing definitely happened based on this thing I don't understand, right? And what has currently happened is there's a lot of things in the public that people are repeating that are just wrong. And as a random person on Reddit or Discord or whatever, I get it that you don't have to be held accountable, and you're probably never gonna be. So whatever, I'm not specifically talking to you. But I would say if you are seeing these things, as I said previously, take them with a pinch of salt. It's probably nonsense, and I can guarantee you
there will always be a troll. Somebody who will take information and lie their ass off. They'll make something up just to stir the pot of outrage. And I get there, like that. Some people like to do that. I'm like, I'm not really gonna knock you for it, because at this point the company, they have fucked up big time, and the backlash you're getting, the company deserves it. The ex-employees do not, but this was like a bunch of bad decisions made, I believe, and I can't say who's really to blame. It's not Steve. I don't believe it's Steve's fault, because they were going to take it in a direction he didn't want, and it's his right to leave, because they were probably going to. They could have possibly been aiming for pay to win sections, like go with pay to win stuff, adding pay to win stuff, and maybe he didn't agree with that. I'm like, I understand leaving, but it's all fucked up, man. It's all fucked. People are just inevitably going to be trolls. Hey, stop messing with the mic. Stop it. Sorry, I got a cat on the desk and he's messing with the microphone. I don't know what to really expect from this outcome. I hate to say that nobody's going to probably get this game. Odds are it's never going to be finished. When the servers close, it's just done for. And that's be the end.
100% fact, take this one to the bank. You are getting nowhere near the real story of this from anything that you find publicly filed until it's a lawsuit. Said it repeatedly, that's just the case. And speaking to content creators here, you do have a responsibility with a platform to not be saying things that are demonstrably false. So just from like a common sense self-preservation angle, you shouldn't be putting things out there that you don't understand or that you've not verified, and random conspiracy theories from the public. And this is going to come across as like some kind of Stephen defense or whatever, but this is just a defense of the truth. And that is, when you get the whole story, it's going to make sense. And I want people to know the truth so that they can make their own determination, not because my opinion matters about what happened between who and whatever. I don't give a fuck what my opinion is. You shouldn't give a fuck what my opinion is. What you should care about is that you get what actually happened and not just like piecemeal random things that people are saying that aren't.
I would love to get the truth, but like it's hard. Like it's not easy because people are gonna lie. They're not gonna tell you. They're gonna lie. They're gonna hide the truth, and they're just gonna play the looped game and then blame somebody else. It fucking sucks. But like, what can you really do? You can't. It's hard to get the truth out of them. Because they'll fight tooth and nail to hide the truth. They might be successful. But you never really know. Even if, like in the court of law, even if the court gets everything, that doesn't mean everything will be found out. Who knows what kind of skeletons they got hidden in their closet. That like people not even the courts will find out about.
True. And even if you don't care about self-preservation of your own channel or being sued or whatever, you should probably care about your audience and their trust in you and you providing them with information that is true. And that's a really long-winded, who gives a fuck statement from me. Just Kira rambling on like usual. But I do think this is important. Obviously, you'll have all seen these narratives. There was no board. Stephen resigned and said there was a board, but that's fiction because there was no board. And Stephen sold his house premeditated. And all these things are untrue. I can tell you, I can show you that one is factually untrue with public documentation, which I'll do right now. And I can point you to the breadcrumb of how you could figure this one out and give you like what the... Also, again, you don't have to take anything I say as fact. I don't recommend you do. Like I will always say, I will say this. You can listen to my opinion and like what I got to say, but if you really want to find out the truth, go digging yourself. Go looking, like find articles as best you can. Don't trust IGN. They do some digging. Watch other YouTube videos, like watch other channels, like try to find like people that got evidence that maybe that you can't find, and come to your own conclusion. Employees heard, and you can find some of the names of these people on public record.
Ooh,
it would be really stupid for me to say this if I didn't know all these things were true. But obviously you are going to see these things come up because the workers have just filed lawsuits against Intrepid. So these things are going to be public record very soon anyway. Oh, yeah. I'm going to show you a document right now that shows the names of people who were not relevant to this story. They just bought a house. So I'm going to redact much of the information on this document, even though it is publicly available, because these people do not deserve their privacy invaded just because you want to know the names of people who bought a house. They're nothing to do with the story. They're nothing to do with Intrepid. They're just people who bought a home. So with that said, here's the document. And as you can see on this document, a bank gave a mortgage for the home on the day it was acquired, which means for this to be untrue and some kind of Stephen scheme, a bank would have to be in on this, giving a mortgage to two random people that are...
The bank is not going to get in on a scheme like that unless they a real shady fucking bank. Because the bank, they are fucking profitable. They can make a lot of fucking money. So they don't need to pull no damn scheme like this. They already got their own scheme going.
Nothing to do with fuck all. These people also, by the way, from public record, you can check, also sold a house next door to Stevens like a week or two, 3-4 weeks, I can't remember what it was, before buying this house, which means that they were already in talks of buying this home and they sold there so that they could buy Stevens. And obviously Stevens' house, there's a deed transfer here, which is very common. It's referred to as a deed cleanup, and it's because the house was in two people's name because they're together, John and Stephen. So when the deed transfer came from Stephen, it was just to basically clean up his side of ownership of the deed so they could move forward to these people. But make no mistake, you can public search this. You don't have to use Parcel Quest, which, by the way, is a reliable website, despite what some people want to say. You can go to the California County Clerk's office and search this.
Well, I ain't going to
and if you
California.
search Stephen's name, you'll find that he transferred the deed in the deed cleanup to John. But then if you search John's name, you'll find him transferring the deed to these people when the house was sold. But obviously people have been doing this, but they've been only doing one side of the equation and then stopping. And it's like, logical conclusion here, guys.
I'm not going to go look because I don't not wish to show any of these people's name either. And I prefer to upload this video without editing, period. So you see honest everything I say, honest reactions and all that.
2 plus 2, you've got the fucking maths there. Why are you not adding them together and getting 4? If you're going to search Stephen and show that Stephen transferred the deed to John, you now know the deed is in John's name. Why wouldn't you search John so you can see where the deed went to? But then people stopped right there and went, oh, John definitely still owns the house. Like, come on, guys. Please, I shouldn't be wasting my time doing this.
People came to a conclusion they were satisfied with, and they stopped there. Because they're lazy, and they've convinced themselves, they found out what's going on, and then they don't want to dig any further. I cannot deny I might be one of those people, but, I mean, on the lazy side, but I hope everything works out for Steven, man, and his husband. Because this shit, I don't think this should fall back on Steven and his husband or anything like that, because they technically left the board before this all went down, and then the remaining board is the ones that made the decision. Now, the board will probably try to drag them into it, and I do not know how that will go, if they do try to drag them into it. But since the senior staff left, as well as, well, after Steven left, like, since senior staff left, I'm going to assume that the senior staff and Steven, like, they got a good reason for leaving, and that even if, like, if they're called up, that they'll give the reason not why they left, that they disagreed with the direction that they were heading, the board wanted to head, and that they were not going to stick around and do it. Now, it's not really an excuse, I don't think. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. I don't know if they could be pulled into this in a bad way or not.
Shouldn't have to talk about this. It's so fucking easy. Now, that being said, obviously the Stephen Sharif was the board. There was no board. People are using this information to show this. Now, this section of the video, obviously there are documents on the screen, but because I showed these documents, it got privacy striked within,
it's all black,
45 minutes of it going live. So the screen's blank. But you can go look at these documents and just listen to what I'm saying and follow along, because I physically can't show you them apparently. But, that's it. That's all I can really say. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. And they're using this one document, right? Because it says, oh, Stephen Sharif, Chief Executive Officer, Secretary, John Moore, they're the only people involved. It's just Stephen and his husband. And this was recently filed. But what people are saying is Stephen filed this. But if you scroll down, you can see somebody else's name that filed this. They filed it. By signing, I affirm the information here is true and correct, and I'm authorized by California law to sign. So if you go to the previous document, this is the one. You can see the person that changed, who was CFO in the company, was previously CFO for some time. So you can deduce from that there are people behind the scenes.
There's people that want to stay anonymous because they probably got some names that are, like, associated with the company people don't like, or they don't want to, like, if this company goes down, they don't want their names tied to it, like it's gone down now. But now that the lawsuit's going to happen, their names more likely are going to go public. So what they didn't want to happen is probably going to end up happening.
That are involved at this level of the company.
It's only a matter of time, though.
So clearly there are people that aren't on this that probably should, because it says number of vacancies on board is 0. So I can understand why people came to this conclusion. Obviously, if there's other people you can see literally changing documents publicly that were in a position, not in a position. This should make sense that there are other people involved, right? Not only that, but I'll just read you the internal...
Ow, my back! Ow! Flashbang!
Post from Stephen that kicked all of this off when the employees found out on November 12th that there was a board. He's talking about the finances of the company. It's a complex financial network that keeps our studio going. Intrepid has always been independently financed, which has protected us from much of the turbulence affecting the broader industry, but also means that the financial burden and risk has long been personal to John and I. That dynamic is changing now, and it's healthy for the studio's future and project's long-term success. I want to share with you all over the last year, we've taken important steps to ensure the long-term strength of Intrepid. I brought on...
Sorry if I don't got much to say on this. It's like he does a good job, but like there's some of this stuff I don't have a comment for. I have no idea what to say in the situation. Because like, really? I don't think there's anything I could add. Like, he does a pretty good damn job. Now, I wish I had something to put here on the black screen. It's driving me nuts.
A group of investors and formally established a board of directors, a milestone that marks our
Dude, it would have been nice if you just put some like cats here or something like that for us to look at.
evolution from a founder-funded startup into a more structured studio on the road to launch.
Yes.
This shift brings new oversight, accountability, and shared responsibility for the company's success, etc., etc. I've not wrote that and then made it up knowing that this could get me in trouble. That's just a thing that was sent internally on November 12th. 200 plus employees saw this. So the employees knew there was a board.
There is definitely a board now, because like somebody signed it. It wasn't It was neither the two that people thought was on the board. Like knew two people were on the board, I believe, and there was somebody else that signed that document. So there was definitely more people on the board, as he was saying. It probably just wanted to stay anonymous, as I was saying, to probably hide their name, because either they got associations that they don't want to associate with the company, or be associated with the company if it downfalls, or like they've done something bad and so they don't want their name tied to the company, because it might drag the company down. But yeah. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Oh fuck.
They didn't know who they were at the time, but obviously this whole situation is getting to the stage where people are just saying random things, right? They've just, everyone's got...
It's quiet. Nobody's talking. So when nobody's talking from the company, people start making speculations. They start making theories. They start making things up. They make their own narrative. They put pieces together that they think it's happening or has happened. Silence is can be your worst enemy. But in this case, it's not much of an option. There is no more company to give a statement. The company's over. Company's pretty much disbanded. Although somebody still owns it. People that still own it are the board. And the remaining board is probably going to be the ones getting in trouble.
Their conclusion that they've came to, and people are posting videos, and
probably
in a lot of cases I'm linked these videos and I look at it and I go, immediately you're saying something that you've not checked and you're putting that into the public, and you should probably want to not be doing that, because it's a problem, whether or not from a legal standpoint, or the fact that, I understand some people are just covering the news here and they're covering what people are saying, and that's fine depending on how you frame it. Oh, this is what people are saying, I don't know, I've not looked into it. That's okay. But if you're going to say, oh, this is what happened because look at this thing that I don't understand, didn't look at, that's an issue. And it's why specifically the other day, because I saw this happening already a week ago and knew it was going to continue happening. It's exactly why I said, if you're seeing something on social media, probably take it with a grain of salt, because this is going to continue. This is going to be the case for a long time now, but we are kind of at the peak of it up until next week. And then it's going to get really fucking crazy. So
next week, what's going to happen
that's
next week?
Video, guys. Sorry it wasn't more stuff. I guess I can answer some Discord questions if any of them are actually answerable. Was no one else aware of the board? When did they take over? Apart from that letter, no other employees mentioned it. Hard for me to believe people worked in the company and didn't know they had a new boss. So it was never told that they own the company now internally, so they wouldn't have known that anyway. So yeah, that's true. Apart from letting no other employees mentioned it, just because they didn't mention it at the time, like
Look, when it comes to like a board and stuff like that, the lower people, they don't have to know shit. Unless it's stated in their contract, they don't have to know shit. At least to the best of my knowledge, that's how that shit works. Like, why would you tell them when they don't need to know? Because that could just cause problems. Like, they might just lose faith and leave.
the employees have mentioned it now, right? But they obviously wasn't leaking things about this at the time. At least I didn't hear anything about it, and nobody talked about it publicly. So I don't think anybody was actually giving this information. I would like to know whom exactly will end up inheriting the assets of Ashes of Creation if we know anything about what they are planning to do with those assets. Nobody knows. It's going to go to legal. This is going to basically be years of lawsuits, and then it'll be determined who has it. And then what do they do with something multiple years down the line? Who fucking knows? No, nobody knows. Obviously, this sounds like sour grapes, and I'm like, don't watch anybody's coverage but mine. Watch everybody's coverage if you want to. It makes no difference to me, other than the fact that please don't link it to me. If you're going to say, oh, Kira, did you see what so-and-so said? No, and I don't want to see it. I don't have to make another video, and I don't want to call people out by name because I'm not interested in petty one-sided internet beefs with content creators. I just want people to put more care into posting stuff. And if you're just some random person that just posts news and just reacts to things, fair enough. Just make sure you're giving the caveat that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. By the way, thanks for watching.
I will state, I do not know what I'm fucking talking about most of the time. I always just go off my opinion, what they're saying, my opinion of what they're saying. So, again, do your own research. It seems like to be the end of the video, so I'm going to catch you guys later, and I'm going to react to this one next. But I'm probably going to take a piss. Alright, later.